everyone.
I guess it's no breaking news that VenomFangX, at least in the person of Shawn from Toronto, the Christian apologist, isn't on YouTube anymore.
I'm not going to be on YouTube anymore. I have to leave. For many reasons, guys. It's not just because my family received death threats to our house. It's also because of the animosity and hatred towards me here on YouTube. Now, we'll talk about that in a second.
I'd like to take Venom at his word, but he's cried wolf once before. So instead of taking him at his word, I'm forced to take him with a grain of salt. As for me, I'll be sorry to see him go. His presence on YouTube allowed everyone a glimpse into the tortured reasoning of those who espouse religious absolutism. Now, a lot of his critics blasted Shawn for being stupid. I disagree. Not because what Shawn said was especially smart. It wasn't. But because his videos gave some sense of the mental gymnastics required for accepting and reiterating Christian apologetics. Despite all of the verbal refuse that he dumped all over YouTube, Shawn always struck me as an intellectually nimble guy. He demonstrated an ability to be quick with his wits. Unfortunately, his quick-wittedness was in the service of mystification. You know what mystification is, don't you? Shawn was in the business of taking something that looked like a duck, walked like a duck, and quacked like a duck, but then explaining to you why it wasn't a duck.
All right, why a duck? It's why a duck? Why no chicken? I don't know why no chicken. I'm a stranger here myself.
Shawn's brain became a kind of Rube Goldberg machine that contorted itself into convoluted courses of thought that dodged evidence and deflected arguments from what he didn't want to talk about onto what he did want to talk about. One of the most blatant of these was his turning a challenging question about New Testament miracles into an answer about Old Testament prophecies.
Why didn't the miracles of Jesus leave behind any evidence? That's just ridiculous. The Bible foretold Jesus coming with thousands of prophecies, foretelling of the future. Jesus came, fulfilled the prophecies as proof of that he is who he claimed to be, and that is the evidence.
There was also the time when he questioned the Big Bang and was presented with the scientific concept of a singularity for explaining where the Big Bang came from. And without showing the slightest understanding of what a singularity is, he then dismissed the argument with an act of wordplay.
You said that the universe came from a singularity. Oh, that was interesting, because I look at the universe and I see a plurality. I see a lot of stuff, not just a single thing.
But his loaded brain also revealed a knack for dishonesty. Perhaps the most notorious example was his video that quote-mined a scientifically informed video response by the YouTube user Goat that challenged Shawn's earlier pseudoscientific nonsense.
You know, Shawn, VenomFangX, you misrepresented me on purpose. You lied to your viewers. You purposely took my quotes out of context. You are a bad person.
And Shawn's indignant charge of ad hominem attacks in Goat's understandably angry reply took the meaning of the word disingenuous to a whole new level. Despite all of this, I still held out the hope that Shawn's nimble intellect could be impacted by the forces of reason. Call me naive, call me an incurable optimist if you want, but I still thought that Shawn showed too much mental acuity to remain trapped in the dumping ground of junk thought.
Hello everyone, and hello Shawn, it's Lacey.
So I was glad to see Go Green 18, Lacey, invite Venom to a discussion about religious issues. However, Shawn's response to her demolished whatever illusions I'd held out about his grasp of rationality. At the very least, I'd have thought that Lacey's questions to him would have struck Shawn as similar to his own questioning of scientific consensus, such as evolution. At the very least, I thought that Shawn would say to himself that Lacey was coming across to him in the same way that he was coming across to the YouTube scientists, and would have responded to her in a manner that he would have wanted the scientists to respond to him with a cordial exchange of views. But his reaction to her floored me. Venom's response to Lacey was, well, venomous. Instead of taking this opportunity to engage her with why he'd reached the religious views that he had, he just ripped into her for the very idea of questioning his religious dogma. He chastised her for not adhering to his own Christian views. But he must have known that those views had long been contested within Christianity itself. And instead of trying to persuade Lacey with the logic of his views, he simply tried to scare her into accepting them.
I think you're in such danger because your videos have discouraged people from knowing God, and I believe you're under his judgment unless you repent and put your faith in Jesus Christ. Until that day, you are indeed headed towards hell. You are going to be damned.
I thought that Lacey's invitation to Shawn was a golden opportunity for him to say, in an affirmative way, these are the positive reasons I have for believing in Christianity. These are the positive reasons why Christianity makes sense to me and why it should make sense to you too. Instead, he just resorted to trying to scare her. It reminds me of the way that George Bush and Dick Cheney scared the American people into supporting the invasion of Iraq and the torture of prisoners of war. It also drives home to me, finally, that just because you have a nimble intellect and a keen mind, that doesn't necessarily leave you open to logic and rationality. And the fact that Shawn so quickly resorted to fear tells me that his beliefs themselves are grounded in fear, and that is the fear that they would not stand up to intellectual scrutiny.